You ever feel like a cosmic accident, like you're just random, bounced around by life, bills, drama, the whole 9 yards? Most of us walk around with this low-grade whisper, why me? And why, for the love of all that's good, does it feel so darn lonely sometimes? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to flip the script on that entire noise. That loneliness, that feeling of being singled out for the tough stuff. That's the clue. That's the footprint. You're not being punished, friend. You're being prepped. See, the world's got it all backwards. It talks about the chosen one, like it's a movie, one special person with a flashy destiny. But that's a fairy tale. The real deal, the mystic secret Joel taught, is this: God doesn't choose a person. God chooses a place, and that place is the midst of you. Your life, your mess, your ache, your quiet moment. That's the chosen ground. The only you with your specific story, your unique scars, your private hopes. That's the perfect, one of a kind setting for the divine to show up and show out. So when you ask, why did God choose only me? It's because only you can be the you that God is being right now. But here's the kicker, and this is where I need you to really lean in. This isn't just a nice idea to make you feel good for the next 5 minutes. This is a spiritual law, and if you truly get this, I mean really let it land in your gut, it won't just change your day. It'll dismantle your entire old world and rebuild it from the ground up. Your so-called problems, they're about to get a whole new meaning. You want to see how this thing really works. You want to move from just hearing this truth to living in it, where the miracles aren't in the Bible. They're in your bank account, your relationships, your peace. Then you got to stick around. This is just the trailer. The full feature is what comes next. So do this for you, like this video if this hit home, comment 777 if you're ready to see the chosen-ness in your chaos, and subscribe, because next time we're going deeper. We're leaving the lecture and stepping into the laboratory of your own blessed life. Don't you dare miss it. Perfect. So let's get right into the first cornerstone of this understanding. That feeling of being chosen isn't about ego, it's about geography. Spiritual geography. Joel would remind us that God, the infinite, the divine principle, isn't a person playing favorites out there somewhere. It's the very substance and life of all being. So for this infinitude to become tangible, to become known, it requires a specific point of reception and expression. It needs a locale, a plot of land in consciousness, to bear its fruit. The only plot of land in all of creation that has your exact blend of history, heart-hatch, memory, and longing is you. Your awareness, right here, right now, is the chosen ground. Think of it like this: the sun shines on everything indiscriminately. But for a seed to sprout, it needs specific soil. Not just any soil, but the right conditions. Your life, with every single thing you've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, has tilled the soil of your consciousness in a way no one else's has been tilled. Those moments you felt most abandoned, that was the plow breaking hard ground. Those times of joy, that was the rain. Those periods of confusion, that was the fertilizer getting worked in. It all prepares the specific, unique, non-negotiable patch of soul that you are to receive a seed of truth that only you can grow in your particular way. This flips the whole "why me" script on its head. You're not being targeted for hardship. Your specific hardships are what make you the perfect, fertile ground for a specific demonstration of grace that the world needs to see through you. Your loneliness isn't a sign of being forgotten. It's often the necessary clearing of the field, the quieting of the crowd, so that you can finally hear the instructions meant solely for your inner ear. The world looks at your life and sees a series of random events, but from the spiritual vantage point, it's a meticulously prepared garden. Every relationship that didn't work, every job that fell through, every dream that seemed to die, it was all turning over the soil, removing the rocks, making the ground soft and receptive. So when you ask, Why did God choose only me? The first answer is this: because only you have this exact plot of land. Someone else's ground couldn't grow what you're meant to grow. Their soil is different. Their climate of experience is different. The fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, will manifest through you in a flavor, in a form that is utterly unique. Your kindness will sound like your voice. Your forgiveness will carry the weight of your story. Your healing will have the signature of your scars. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about being authentically, irreplaceably you. The divine needs that specific point of expression. It needs our human consciousness to shine through, and it has appointed yours. Your awareness is the temple, the holy ground, not because of your personal merits or demerits, but because it is the one and only location where the infinite can become the intimate as you. Therefore, your primary spiritual work is not to beg a distant deity for favors, but to consciously acknowledge, consecrate, and tend this inner ground. To stop seeing yourself as a lonely wanderer on a hostile planet, and to start recognizing yourself as a sacred plot, a chosen and fertile field, where what is planted from above is destined to break forth in a harvest that will feed not just you, but your entire world. The miracle begins the moment you stop fighting the topography of your life and start blessing the ground you stand on. This brings us directly to the next divine logic. If your consciousness is the chosen ground, then every single thing that lands in it, every person, every event, every moment of lack or abundance, every heartbreak and every breakthrough, is not a random cosmic accident. It is an appointment. This is a radical shift in perception. The human mind, trained in the world of effects, sees chaos. It labels things as good luck or bad luck, a raw deal or a sweet victory. It judges, separates, and complains. But the spiritual consciousness, what Joel called the Christ mind, perceives the universe differently. It understands there are no accidents in a spiritually governed universe, only appointments. Everything and everyone that crosses the sacred ground of your being is a divinely scheduled encounter. They are not there by chance, they are there by cosmic design, for a purpose that serves your awakening and the fulfillment of your unique destiny. Think about the people who have hurt you the most. From a human standpoint, they are villains in your story, obstacles to your peace. But from this higher vantage point, they were appointed as master teachers, albeit harsh ones. They were the precise instruments needed to sand down a specific rough edge of your ego, to expose a hidden pocket of resentment you were carrying, or to shatter an idol you had made of a relationship. Their role wasn't to love you, but to trigger you. And in that triggering, to show you exactly where your freedom was still locked away. The same goes for the so-called chance meetings, the sudden opportunities that appeared from nowhere, the book that fell off the shelf at the perfect time. These are not happy accidents. They are the fulfillment of appointments made in the inner kingdom, perfectly timed deliveries to a consciousness that has been prepared to receive them. This understanding takes the sting out of victimhood. When you stop seeing yourself as a cork tossed on the ocean of random fortune and start seeing yourself as a student in a meticulously crafted curriculum, your entire relationship to life changes. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start inquiring, "What is this here to show me? What lesson is appointed for me in this very moment?" The traffic jam, the missed flight, the unexpected bill, the sudden illness, these are not errors in the matrix. They are sacred appointments, often the most crucial ones, because they interrupt our human planning and force us into the present moment, where the divine actually operates. They are the universe's way of rerouting us from our ego's small, safe path onto the soul's wild and destined journey. Embracing this means living with a profound sense of expectancy and surrender. It means walking through your day, not with a schedule of your own making, but with an openness to the divine schedule. You meet people differently. You listen more deeply, because you know they are a messenger. You face obstacles not with despair, but with a curious reverence, knowing they are not blockages but detours guiding you to a better path. Even the suffering, the dark nights, are seen as the most sacred appointments of all, the scheduled times for the old self to be dissolved so the new can be born. Nothing is wasted. No pain is without purpose. No joy is merely fleeting entertainment. It is all part of the syllabus for the awakening of the Christ in you, the chosen one. Your life is not a series of random episodes. It is a consecrated story, every chapter, every character, every twist and turn, divinely appointed to bring you home to the recognition of who you really are. The peace comes when you trade in your judgment for trust, exchanging the anxiety of chance for the assurance of the appointment. Now, if we can really sit with that, if we can accept that every single thing showing up at the doorstep of our consciousness is an appointed guest, then we have to look at the nature of these appointments with new eyes, especially the difficult ones. This is where the rubber meets the road in spiritual work. The human mind wants pleasant appointments, the promotions, the windfalls, the easy relationships. It wants to cancel the meetings with lack, with betrayal, with illness, with failure. But the divine curriculum doesn't work that way. It understands that for the true power, the miracle, to be revealed, there must first be a stage set for its appearance. This is the profound truth. The setup is the setup for the show, uplifts your entire history, every single circumstance you find yourself in, especially the ones that feel most constricting, most unfair, most like a prison, is not your reality. It is the setup. It's the dark room, the empty canvas, the silent stage. It is the without form and void that Genesis speaks of right there in the middle of your life. We get into trouble because we think the setup is the show. We believe the problem is the final act. We stare at the bare cupboard and call it lack. We feel the loneliness and call it abandonment. We face the diagnosis and call it our sentence. We are misnaming the setup. We're calling the empty theater a failure because the play hasn't started yet. But the emptiness, the silence, the need, these are not failures. They are the sacred, necessary preconditions. They are the invitation for something entirely new, something not of this world of effect, to make its entrance. Joel Goldsmith taught that the consciousness which beholds a problem is the very consciousness that must become the transparency for the solution. The problem isn't an obstacle to God, it's the precise signal that God is ready to appear as the solution. The feeling of lack isn't proof you've been forgotten, it's the hollowed out space being prepared to be filled with a sense of divine substance you've never known before. The betrayal isn't about the other person's character. It's the setup to show you a wellspring of love and completeness within yourself that no outer relationship could ever provide or take away. The illness is the setup to force you to turn from the body as identity and to discover yourself as untouched, spiritual life. So you have to learn a new spiritual discernment. You must develop the vision to look at any challenging situation and say, quietly within, "This is not my truth. This is the setup. This is the darkness before the dawn, the stillness before the creative word is spoken. This circumstance is not here to stay. It is here to pass away as the new reality appears. Your job is not to fix the setup with your own human willpower and worry. Your job is to recognize it for what it is, a divinely orchestrated emptiness, a perfect vacuum created to pull forth the power and presence of the infinite. When you stop fighting the setup and instead bless it as the necessary precursor, you align yourself with the spiritual law. You stop pouring your energy into rearranging the empty chairs on the dark stage, and you instead become still in a state of receptive expectation, waiting for the lights to come on. You understand that the more profound the seeming problem, the more absolute the setup, the greater the glory of the show up that is destined to follow. The pressure isn't to break you, it's to create the diamond. The fire isn't to destroy you, it's to forge the steel. You are not being punished by your circumstances, you are being prepared by them. The valley isn't your home. It's the passageway to the higher ground. So the next time you face what the world calls a crisis, pause. Look past the form. See it not as a wall, but as a door. Not as the end of the story, but as the carefully constructed beginning of a miracle. Your faith is not about believing the setup will disappear, it's about knowing, with absolute certainty, that it exists for one reason only, to be the backdrop against which the light of your true being will now shine unmistakably and undeniably. This leads us to the natural and inevitable question: if all of this is true, if my life is chosen ground, every event a sacred appointment, and every problem a setup for a divine show up, then what is my role in all of this? Am I just a passive plot of land waiting for the rain? A student just showing up for class? A stagehand in the dark? And here's where we get to the breathtaking core of your purpose. Your only you is the specific channel. The infinite has no voice but yours to speak within your world. It has no hands but yours to heal within your relationships. It has no eyes but yours to see the Christ in the person in front of you. The divine is the electricity, but you are the unique, one-of-a-kind filament through which that electricity must flow to become visible light. Your specific history, your particular wounds, what your quirky humor, your unique blend of strengths and weaknesses. This isn't baggage. This is your spiritual wiring. This is what makes you the perfect, irreplaceable conduit for a certain quality of God to be made manifest. Think of a great orchestra. The principle of music is universal, but for that principle to become audible as a specific, soul-stirring sound, it needs particular instruments. The flute can't do what the cello does. The violin can't produce the sound of the oboe. Your life has shaped you into a specific instrument. The pain you've endured has given you a certain tone, a resonance of compassion that someone who has lived a cushy life simply doesn't have. The mistakes you've made have tuned your strings to the key of humility and forgiveness. The joys you've known allow you to play notes of authentic celebration. God isn't trying to bypass your personality or your past to express something generic. That only you quality is this precisely filter, the exact lens, required for a certain heavenly frequency to reach earth. Your so-called flaws and peculiarities are often the very design features of your channel. This means your spiritual work is not to become a bland, spiritual clone of some ideal. It's not to copy someone else's path or mimic their miracles. Your work is to get your own channel clear, to remove the blockages of resentment, self-doubt, fear, and old, small stories about who you are. You are not trying to become holy. You are clearing away the debris so that the holiness that is your true nature, shaped by your unique journey, can flow through unobstructed. When you forgive that old hurt, you're not just doing a good deed. You're sanding down a rough spot in your inner flute so the air flows smoothly. When you sit in meditation and release your anxieties, you're not just seeking peace, you're tuning the strings of your inner cello so it can hold the correct note. So when you feel that nudge to reach out, to create, to speak a word of kindness, to start that project, to stand in faith against a seeming impossibility, that is not your ego. That is the infinite current seeking to complete its circuit through you. It has chosen your channel, your specific set of life, experiences and talents as the perfect delivery system for that particular blessing. Someone else's kindness would not land the same way. Someone else's art would not carry the same vibration. Someone else's faith would not have the same testimony. The miracle that is seeking to happen in your family, in your finances, in your body, is waiting for you to consent to be its specific point of entry. It is tailored to you. This is why comparison is not just a sin, it's a profound spiritual error. It's a flute being jealous of the drum. Your power lies in your specific, God-crafted design. Your only responsibility is to consent to be used, to offer your only, you, scars, quirks, talents and all, as a clear vessel. Say within yourself, let this life, this consciousness, this history be the channel. Let lie will flow in its own unique way through this, my unique being. In that surrender, well, you don't lose yourself, you become the most authentic, powerful, and effective version of yourself possible. You become the answered prayer someone else is waiting for. And right there, in that act of conscious consent to be a clear channel, we encounter the great transformation of identity. This is where the entire spiritual journey pivots from theory to lived reality. You see, as long as you identified as that lonely wanderer, a victim of random appointments and hostile setups, you were trapped in a story of separation. You felt cut off from God, from others, from your own good. But the moment you begin to understand yourself as the chosen ground, the appointed student, the stage for the show up, and the specific channel, a profound shift occurs. You are no longer a lonely victim out in the cold world. You become a solitary sanctuary. This is a critical distinction. Loneliness is the ache of absence. Solitude is the fullness of presence. A victim is acted upon. A sanctuary is where something holy is housed. Your very being, your consciousness, is that sanctuary. It is not a lonely place. It is the one place in all the universe where the divine is guaranteed an intimate dwelling. This is the secret Jesus pointed to when he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." It's not a crowd inside there, it's a holy of holies. It is solitary because it is singular, unique, and set apart for a sacred purpose. You stop seeking for God out there, in events, in doctrines, in other people's approvals, or in future circumstances. You begin the supreme act of spiritual integrity, turning within to acknowledge the guest who has already taken up residence in the sanctuary of your own awareness. The loneliness you felt was never a sign of abandonment. It was the sanctuary's natural quiet, misunderstood. It was the hollow echo of a space designed to be filled by a presence so vast it can only be appreciated in the stillness. Now, you relate to your life from the altar within, not from the chaos without. When a storm rages in your outer world, financial pressure, relational discord, bodily ailment, you don't run out into the storm screaming. You retreat, consciously and deliberately, into the solitude of your sanctuary. You close the mental doors on the noise. You sit at that inner altar not to beg, but to acknowledge. You acknowledge the presence. You become still and know. What from that centered sanctuary consciousness you behold the outer storm. And here's the mystical secret from the vantage point of the altar. The storm is not happening to you, the sanctuary. It is happening outside the temple walls. Your identity is no longer tied to the weather outside. You are the undisturbed, holy space within. This is how you become the healer of your own life. You don't fight the condition. You retreat to the sanctuary where the condition cannot enter. In that quiet, you realize your true nature is not the sick body, but the life that animates it. Not the bankrupt account, but the infinite substance that sustains all form. Not the broken relationship, but the unconditional love that can never be broken. From that inner fortress of peace, you emit a different frequency. You stop radiating fear and lack, which only magnetizes more of the same. You begin to radiate the assurance and wholeness of the sanctuary itself. And a spiritual law kicks in. The outer world must, in time, conform to the consciousness you are holding. The storm doesn't always cease instantly, but your relationship to it transforms utterly. You are in it, but not of it. You are the peace that passes the world's understanding, right in the midst of the turmoil. Your problems don't always vanish. They lose their power over you because they cannot penetrate the sanctuary. They become like pictures on the wall of a stable house. They may shake in the wind, but the foundation does not move. You are no longer a lonely soul seeking a home. You have come home to yourself as the dwelling place of the Most High. And from that position of rooted, solitary strength, your entire life becomes a ministry, not because you're out preaching, but because your very presence, emanating from that sanctified silence, becomes a healing, calming force in the world. You are not hiding from life. You are meeting all of life from an unshakable ground. From that sanctuary, observing the storms without and the stillness within, we come to the ultimate purpose of it all. We've seen the setup. We've taken our place in the sanctuary. Now, what is the fruit of this entire, intricate process? It is nothing less than a complete alchemy of perception. Every single condition, relationship, and circumstance that once appeared as a prison sentence is now revealed to be something else entirely, an invitation. This is the final, transformative key. Thus, the alchemy turning problem into portal. The very thing you have prayed to be removed from your life is, in truth, the doorway you have been praying to find. The problem is not an error to be corrected. It is the portal to a new dimension of consciousness, waiting to be recognized and stepped through. This is where human thought and spiritual consciousness diverge completely. Human thought sees a wall and spends all its energy trying to tear it down, climb it, or complain about its injustice. It invests its very identity in the struggle against the wall. Spiritual consciousness approaches the same wall and asks a different question. What if this is not a wall, but a door? What if its very solidity is an illusion meant to train my vision to see through the appearance? The lack in your finances is not a sign of failure. It is the portal into the conscious awareness of God as your infinite, ever-present supply. It forces you to stop looking at the digits in an account and to start perceiving the flow of substance itself. The sickness in the body is not a punishment. It is the portal out of identifying as a fragile, physical thing and into the realization of yourself as incorruptible, spiritual life. The betrayal is the portal out of seeking love from others and into the direct, unmediated experience of being love itself. Your entire spiritual path, then, is a training in this alchemy. It is learning to stop reacting to the form of the problem and to begin responding to the hidden opportunity within it. This isn't positive thinking. This is mystical seeing. It is the metanoia, the change of mind that Jesus taught. You are literally learning to perceive a different reality behind the appearance. The problem, in all its pressing urgency, is the perfect and necessary catalyst. Without its intense pressure, you would have no reason to turn within, to seek a higher law, to quiet the human mind and listen for the divine direction. It is the friction that creates the spiritual spark. It is the closed tomb that makes the resurrection necessary and possible. So the work is always inner. The moment a challenge arises, your spiritual practice begins. You acknowledge the appearance, you don't deny the pain, the fear, or the diagnosis, but you then make the conscious, deliberate pivot. You turn from the outer form and you turn within your sanctuary, not to hide, but to see with new eyes. You ask, what is this here to dissolve in me? What old limiting belief is this pressure exposing? What greater truth is it forcing me to rely upon? You welcome the problem as the catalyst. You bless it as the doorway. And in that act of inner recognition, something shifts. The problem may or may not change instantly in form, but it very immediately changes in nature and purpose for you. It is no longer your master. It has become your servant, your spiritual drill sergeant, your guide to a deeper level of freedom. The barrier becomes the bridge. The very thing meant to confine you becomes the vehicle of your liberation. You stop fighting your life and start cooperating with the deeper current that is using every single wave, even the terrifying ones, to carry you home. This is the great secret of the chosen one. Your greatest trials are custom, crafted portals, and your sacred responsibility is to stop trying to brick them up and to instead, with a curious and trusting heart, step through.